Alrighty, let's see. Okay. I do wish their AoE is more spread out around the field. Yeah, especially that shockwave. Okay. Get some health. Oh. These are kind of like what? The final boss? To me it's kind of lackluster. See, that dome needed to be more like a whole arena shock. So it would be hard for people can escape. Okay.
Trial start.
Activating overboost. Limiter removed. Power increased. Control at breaking point.
Okay. Oops. Damn. I messed up. That's fine. Damn, I missed.
Target acquired. Activating overboost. Limiter removed. Power increased. Control at breaking point. Eradicating enemy.
Clever.
Target acquired.
Success.
Operation complete.
There we go. Not bad, just it needs more oomph. Like the Griffin Twin Horn, whatever he is, he should be the kind of the entry of this guy. Is Sega missing a lot of opportunities here? What they could have done. Like I said, the Griffin could be like an appetizer before this boss shows up. Like when we're finishing beating up the Griffin Twin Horn, we would be like going to that phase of showing our rank, but it's gonna be a fake rank. Like it'd say that you didn't pass, or it says F or D, whatever, and then before like the loot pops out, he arrives, and from that point, from your loot and your rank will disappear and gone. It's like pretty much saying, I fooled you, and here's the final boss. They could have done it like that, giving a little twist, right? A plot twist, and that satisfaction, like, oh shit, you know. But yeah, and it's gonna be something new. Other than that, you know, there is more things that they could have done to improve. But is this a route that they're going in to make, maybe introducing, excuse me, a certain raid or a certain dungeon in the future? I don't know. Even though they are doing like the baby step, excuse me, it's in their baby step needs work because it's very slow. I don't know if their team of making NGS, their team is small and have better opportunities. In this case, how I see it, it feels like they might have a good rounded of a team, but they're lacking of this and that, and how to make this NGS world a better place, if you guys can or understand that. Looking at in Sega's point of view, because there are two different businesses that's working, like doing a collab, right, for making this IP a thing. It kind of reminds me of what happened, the partnership with Destiny, excuse me, that Destiny had Bungie and Activision, and they had a certain contract for they be collabing with each other, working with each other, being partners, but there are certain agreements that it didn't come to part because Bungie couldn't make the game that they wanted to make because Activision is holding them back. I don't know if it's the same argument that's involving with Sega and Phantasy Star Online. Is that a thing that the two businesses is working together, but there is something in between that it's not letting them work properly? if that is the case, if Sega's doing, whatever they're doing, kind of like I'm explaining the Activision thing, could be, is it Sega's fault or Fantasy Star's fault that they're not letting one or the other do what they want to do? So I don't know. You guys tell me. You guys be the judge of that, and put a feedback in Sega's official social media websites and see what they respond. Maybe the developer team from Fantasy Star might give us a hint or something, so we could be more aware and how to help or improve certain things that they could push to what Bungie and Activision did. They work together, and then they need the help of the consumers, us players. So it's something to keep in mind and have in thought, because even though there are times, or most of the times, that I do blame the developer team or the company, at this point it could be one of the companies that is in fault, or both. I cannot assume it's both of them, but I can say it may be one of them. Other than that, let's continue. Alrighty then. Going about, well, Sega can probably improve their, sorry about the noise, how they could improve the limited time quests and urgent quests is by leaving it there. Because if you think about this, triggers or dual quest, right? For an example, they have it permanent here, right? And it tells you what power level that you need to be. Okay, keep this in mind. Same thing with triggers. Alright, enough said. For a limited time quest and urgent quest, they should have all the lists of the urgent quest and limited time quest there already, and it can be randomized. Let's say every week it changes, but let's keep in mind the Bar System Training Center can be moved to a trigger, or just flat out on the quest menu, just have it right there, so that will say Mars Training Center, that anybody can be there to practice and train to improve how to use the Mars system. Let's be real, the dual quest and the rumble drill, whatever it is, that you have to protect the drill crap, and it's a waves of enemies. Nobody likes that shit. I don't want to say nobody. I would say most. So it's, I think I see the concept of what they're trying to do, but at this point of time, it does not fit into like if we're gonna do LTQs or urgent quest or season event or special events. I don't see those things apply to the game itself, and as well as like when we go to Kavaris, there's a quest in the campsite that you had to visit the Rumble, quote speak, and I believe they should change that or take that quest away and add something else that maybe it's for like going to the gorge or going to the ruin. Better yet, keep it for Lost Sector, because not as much people use Lost Sector, but it would give them the opportunity and to go into the Lost Sector to do whatever quest it needs to be done. That should be logical. Other than that, let's continue about Lucille and Nameless City. They should do a slightly overhaul or overhaul completely of Nameless City, because Nameless City is really good and fascinating place. I'm not trying to butcher it or, you know, say something bad about it, but there are certain points that in this moment of time of the game that Sega NGS has to retract back, stop doing future contents for a while. I'm not saying to not have it or hold it down completely till they fix everything. No, I'm saying they need to hold it off for a moment and retract the things that they need to fix and improve in this game. So like that, once they do that, they have enough time to progress and to the future content to make it better. Like main story mission once for new players or players that is already here that keep playing the game because we are fans of it, or players that's coming back to the game. We need replay back value playing older content, as well as main story missions that's replayable. Because if you think about I believe it's Detroit Become Human, you have a bad ending, a perfect ending or a true ending, but also keep in mind there is multiple routes. When we playing the main story mission, there's plot twists that they could make and adjust, and so whatever ending is gonna change if you're going back to chapter 1, depending on the answers that you put into whatever the NPCs ask you, because there is no a drawback or a what's it called, punishment or a reward system when you're playing the main chapters. And let's keep this in train of thought in mind that Sega needs to improve story as a whole, because MMORPG needs to focus on the story for you could invest into your character, get attached to it, and also get attached to certain characters. Yeah, as well as them like Manon and what's her name? Like Anna, Dozer, things like that, Crawford, the whole gang. As much as I like certain characters in NGS, but also I'm not attached to it. Like, there are certain games you get so attached to it, and what happens to them, you want to know more. If they died or something happened to them. A great an example. If you watch of Game of Thrones, you're getting attached to a lot of characters because they're so unique, or they're relatable, excuse me, and that almost every chapter or every episode someone's dying, or pretty much that's what Game of Thrones is, that everyone's dying because someone's betrayed, or someone fell in love in this certain family, or they have to compete with a certain family, and they have rivals and enemies, arch enemies. Everyone's pretty much wants to take everyone out, for they could be the king or the queen of the throne room. And you have evil person that you really hate. You're like, oh, I want to beat their butt or whatever. It would be nice to have certain chemistry of this and implement it, of the same thing of Detroit Becoming Human. You get attached to certain characters. You're like, why they have to die, or why do they have to get hurt? I want them to be in a happy life, right? I want something like that. Or I don't know if you guys want something like that, but let me know in the comments, or let Sega know what you want. With that being said, and also the weapon series. Weapon series is killing off
Best of luck to you.
The player store and armors, augments, things that you're not able to trade. But probably keep getting into something that I don't want to talk about right now. But let's keep going with Nameless City. But what if
Best of luck to you.
the Nameless City don't have time, the time gate thing? Each time when it goes to whatever time that we have to 0, you pretty much get kicked out. What if we don't have no time of that time limit, and there are safe zones like bubbles, like the quest guide here? The bubble would be right here. Once you get out of it, you're out of the safe zone. Same goes as for enhancement. The bubble should be like about here, and anything could happen from this point. But let's say once you're in, like, doing what you're wanting to do, and a doll, let's say from this point, just coming running down, chasing an NPC or a player, would that be, lively and fun to watch, and also help out the NPCs once they're down? So we have to use like our giving them health or reviving them, and taking the dolls out in the Nameless City. So it'll be very active area. There be bits and pieces of area that's safe zone, but you're interacting with NPCs and other players that kind of like when we have LTQ or urgent quests in there, they're gonna be like a mini boss that you have to take out before it destroy the area, which is not likely, but let's just say like a drama effect that if you didn't save this town, it would be destroyed. So it would be like an off-going battle royale type of thing that we ARCs are able to push the dolls out of that zone completely. But then every once in a while, it would be very vague, opportunity that it slows down of attacks, and then more attacks comes in. So it's kind of like waves of, I wouldn't say like more, that you have to keep your shit going, and you have to keep on protecting it. So even though that you're busy doing like maybe salon or fixing up your gear and things like that, it's more active and more lively. So people will like that. So they don't need to just sit around here just standing every now and then or dancing. Yeah, there'll be opportunities to do that, but it will be less opportunities to do it in Nameless City. So you have to be active if you want to keep being in there. Because what if you by accident just get out of the safe spot and they're in aggro and they see you and they just go on until you're down? Because that will kind of stop of people like AFK or things like that. You're gonna see down bodies a lot, or if they haven't moved that much, of course you're gonna be kicked out to make some more room for other players. If you're non-active so long, that'll be a unique twist in mind. But let me know what you guys think, because it would be nice to have something like that. But anyways, going back to the Mars, before talking about Mars, well, let's talk about it. Each slot of Mars, I guess your equipment, what are you gonna equip yourself with by using Mars? By the ship, the laser gun, Hydra, Hog, the blades, Switch Army knife, whatever it is. Are there any difference? Not exactly. You have to remember, this is a boost for you, and also it can cover your weaknesses depending on what class you choose and what weapons you are choosing. Alright, so going back to class. Each and every class, regardless if you're a melee, range, or techer, of all these type of classes, each and every one has a weakness factor, and most of them share the same weakness. What do I mean by that? Is by all the weapons that is connected to the class has a weakness of range. So some are more or less than others, depending on what weapon you are using. And that's pretty much the basic information of what weapon you want to choose or favorite. If people are saying there's a meta, what weapon are you using for meta? I'm not saying there is. I'm be frank and clear. There's no such thing as meta at this point of time because of how Sega is with NGS a whole. If you've played it from the start and this now from the state of the game how it is, it's pretty much going up and down scaling. That we have elemental weapons. We have somewhat very little of elemental monsters. So that begs the question, do we have meta? And why don't we? Because, like I kind of tried to say it before, but I was holding myself back, is because of weapon series, armor, and augments. From your level 1 to 15 and how we are now 90, we have series of weapon, not weapons. If you kind of get the hint, weapon, not weapons. Like in Borderlands, you don't have series of weapons. You have different types of weapons from different rarities. And it could be the same weapon, but different rarity and different functions, how they implement in the game for you, depending what class you're in and what you're looking for. If you want an elemental weapon or non-elemental weapon, and what kind of build and what style you're trying to succeed from the game, from 1 to the end game. Hear me out. It's one of the reason is because we are level 90. We haven't reached cap to level 100. That is one reason why we have broad range of different weapon series that's trying to fit to our level, not to our battle power. See the difference? Because like an example, Destiny, where you could progress further to the story mission, your level matters. And when you reach to your first raid, you should be max level capped, and a requirement of your light power. So in this case, in NGS, your requirement of level and battle power as of now, because we haven't reached, like I said, to 100. Once we reach 100, now is by battle power. To increase our battle power by a margin or a lot, for you could go to the next phase. So that's why the raid is built, so you could have a fancy gear, but also fancy attachments and whatever you're looking for, or an exotic weapon that you're trying to hunt and farm for, to grind for. All that is going to bring up your battle power to the max cap of a battle power till you get to the other content or the newer content. And then that newer content will have a raid as your final boss for you could get a better gear and better battle power and better, you know, things that you could makes it easier for you till you reach that pinnacle point of that certain end game and what builds and what you want to roll as. In this case, we don't have roles that matches with our classes, or I digress. We don't have roles that matches our battle power style and how we could increase our power completely. So as of now, we are overpowered without the proper gear. So that makes us pretty much weak. Why I say that? As of now, for this urgent quest, 3,749, and we should be around that power level or the same power level or slightly lower. Passing it could be 3,800, where you could go to the next phase of whatever content, a newer content. Any other older content from that point, you should be easily taking everything down. But our gear doesn't match our power level or weapons. Weapons doesn't match our battle power because it's pretty much series of weapons that gets you started to fight the vanilla game to take you to that point. We're at the vanilla game still because we haven't reached max cap, even though people are saying we are at the end of the phase, or we finished the vanilla game. Okay, but why are we still proceeding to increase our level? Our level's not matching to other things as well as our equipment, because each weapon should match our battle power, or I digress. Each weapon should match our power level, and we could match our battle power with our equipment, but we can't match it to our equipment due to lack of weapons, lack of armor, lack of augments. Even though they're still keep on introducing the same thing, but it's, you know, a margin, very little bit, like a few grain of salts here and there, or sugar if you want to call it. It's like little grains. It's not like other games that they give you, here's a bag full of sugar, whatever. If you all guys want to think about. I'm gonna go back to Borderlands or Division. They gave you a whole like bunch load of weapons that you can get overwhelmed sometimes. Here, anybody has every weapon, not weapon that you can earn, or outfits that you could earn, camels that you could earn to style your outfits or your, weapons, armor. You don't have that. That's why urgent quests, LTQs are pretty bland, and they're pretty much kind of like a strike, but a bootlegged that is very small, that is quick and easy. It's because it's quick and easy that we have timers. We're in a time slot that everything doesn't really have a balance between casual, min-maxers, and hardcore. There's no bar that is, or a gray area to favor the three parties, regardless what you choose to be or what kind of playstyle that you are looking for. That is the issue. They need to find a middle ground to satisfy the three parties. But I guess they're looking for that solution. There is many solutions that they could be doing. They don't need to just look at my videos. They could look at everyone's videos, and they could try to play with what I've said, taking down the dual quest and Rumble, so on and so forth. Even though this pyramid shit, they could take off whatever is inside, because it's pretty much playing cocoons, but in a higher scale level. That's why, to me, the pyramid, it's crap for me. That's my opinion alone. If you guys like it, that's on you. That's up to you. I'm not judging. But I am judging Sega and Phantasy Star Online, how they proceed and do things. Yeah. So going back, like I've explained before, depending on your weapons and your class, Mars doesn't really do anything for all those things, only to cover your weaknesses and giving you a boost, a oomph of your power. Pretty much kind of maxing out your power to the maximum with using Mars system. So regardless if you use 2 melee weapons, 2 range weapons, or a little bit of both, right? Regardless of what match you decide. But here, this is how my skill setup is. If you want to copy it, go ahead. If you don't want to, that's okay too. I'm not telling you to copy it. You are the players. You each their own to make what you want to cover your style. That's the point of this video. How to improve and cover your style. Of learning your weaknesses and how to cover your weaknesses. Make it your weakness to your strength. That's what I'm trying to provide, that type of knowledge. To me, in this case, like it says, support action, double sidestep, a double attack, or add attack, excuse me. Add attack and deband field, support action, and jammer, attack, all the good nitty gritty stuff. But as much as I like to read most of these things for you, and if you could see the on your right corner side of the screen, it says Mars skill details. That right there, I cannot read what's the other piece. It's very confusing. But only thing I could say is this is a support action, and it gives you more chances to do more hits. And this is pretty much allows you to perform 2 side steps or whatever, additional attack and dodge and attack, what I could see here. This pretty much kind of make it more powerful, but it has to, when you implement or put the Mars system on you, it would give like a probably some type of buff or support, I don't know. This weapon action here, it says create a field that reduce damage taken a certain amount when the attack hits. So when you get hit, it will reduce damage to you. So I see this is very complementing with these 3 here. It also produce additional attack when you successfully nullify an attack. So pretty much you need a perfect counter to be successful to cancel out any of their attacks, bigger attacks, regardless if it's mobs or the boss monster. How to do the perfect block with your Mars system and with your own character as well, so you could practice on doing that. This pretty much says the same thing: debuffs, damage, some powerful enemies. Okay, this will help you to an extent. It would protect you from mobs from hurting you, but if it's the boss himself, it pretty much says that it will some powerful enemies are not affected by this, so keep that in mind. Yeah, it gives you more additional attacks. This pretty much gives you another way of doing sidestep, dodging, evading, quicking, you know, bobbing and weaving, dodging and protecting, evading, you know, whatever you are trying to do to get yourself out of a different situation. Jumping forward, down, maneuver, lock, changes, jump, maneuver, dodge, attack while moving rapidly. Okay, no, it's this one. Jumping without pressing a directional button while locked on changes the jump to maneuver, the dodge, attack while maneuver rapidly to the same height as the lock on location. So pretty much this one, I've seen certain players and also certain content creators get a little iffy and they get kind of stuck because you're pretty much at the same level or the mercy of the monster when you're locking on. Now let's go into Limit Time Quest and Mars Training. Alright, so by letting you know the weakness of every monster guaranteed 99% of the time to give me an open window if I have made a mistake or not, or in the future. That the blind spot of each monsters or enemies, it's on the backside all the time. That's their blind spot, and where they won't get aggroed by you. But it also depending on your current level and power level. Keep those in mind. And also, this is like a slightly blind spot. You shouldn't be like, for this gorilla or troll looking dude, don't pass his elbow, because once you pass his elbow, he'll be able to see you, and from this point downward, he won't be able to see you, or he won't be not paying attention to you. He won't be aggroed by you. Only if your power level or your level, depending how far we go from the future, if we haven't capped our level yet, then it will be most likely the power level. Sometimes the level matters. Most of the time is your power level. From there on, if your power level is stronger than another person, he's gonna, even though you're in this blind spot, once you hit him, he'll be aggroed towards you. He'll be facing you. But if someone has almost the same value of the power level, or slightly higher or slightly lower, it will be facing you or facing that person, depending how much damage that they took in. So with that being said, oh, before I go to this dude here, that dude here, you have to learn how to fight by moving around. You cannot just stay put all the time, because you're a bigger target like that. And if you're charging, keep in mind, even though if you're able to charge, sometimes you're stuck and you cannot move. The only way you're moving, it's by unlocking like this. But even so, you're stuck in one point till you're fully charged, and you'll be able to do your thing and do whatever is necessary. But that is what you guys, that's your guys' homework. Learn to maneuver, bobbing and weaving, evading, dodging, you know, do what you gotta do to get out of situations. Okay, so for this, it's blocking. That's not a perfect block. This is a perfect block. When you see those little hexagons, that's a perfect block. So I'm gonna do it again. That's a perfect block. If I don't have a perfect block, it'll look like this. So, see, a block or perfect block, that's a perfect block. You have to hear that tone or that ring. See, even you could dodge, that's dodging. That's blocking, but you didn't do a perfect block. Okay, by having a perfect block on Mars system, you pretty much have to keep on attacking regardless, and moving and attacking, or you could do it. So I'm gonna demonstrate. You have to have it locked. Oops, sorry. See? And move forward or move backward, and that's a perfect block. and it will say an attack negated, or going on your left side, or going on your right. That's just a normal block. See? Keep hearing what it's saying. But after that, the last thing I'm gonna show you is that with this guy, each weapon class and weapons has the weakness of ranges depending on your weapon. Like I said earlier, like my Slayer can hit still from that point until here. Before I cross the line, I cannot hit. When I'm able to hit him, let's go beyond that. Say I still cannot hit him. To hit him with my Slayer class, I have to charge to land a far range attack, and I'm able to hit. Even if I go from here, I can still land a hit. But I have to be locked on or locked off facing, because even if you're locked temporary, the white ring is a temporary locking on. So even like that, you can miss depending on the direction you hit. But if you're facing an enemy, you won't be missing. Even when you're locked, you will never miss. So you have to learn on your distance, your range, on how your weapons function at that point. Then learn to bob and weaving, dodging and blocking, evading, anything, and learn of your AoE. With that, that is all. Please like and subscribe for further content, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, and if you have any other questions, leave a comment, and if I have the same questions, I'll make a video of it. So see you guys next time. Later.